Hi, welcome to Growing Dreams Homestead. I'm Dana, and my family and I are homesteading on 10 acres in Indiana. Today is March 18th, so tomorrow is the first day of spring, and we have about a little over 9 weeks till our last frost. So today is going to be the day I start my peppers and tomatoes. So I invested in some of these photo storage boxes this year. This is the first time I've used these to store my seeds. I have 2 of them. They hold 8 of these containers in each one of them, and it's really nice having all my seeds organized. So this first one has my cool crops and herbs in it, and the other one has my tomatoes and peppers and all my summer crops and my flowers. So today I'm going to be starting tomatoes and peppers. That'll give us a nice little jump start on the growing season, and I thought I would bring you along. So all of my tomatoes are here in this one case. So we're going to pick out the ones that I want to plant. So there is a geranium kiss. It is a dwarf, and I grew this last year in the greenhouse, and it was a great size for in there. So I'm going to start a few of those. There's some Jersey Devils. These are very large paste tomatoes. Last year I had some that were longer than my hand. So do those again. Of course, I'm going to want to start all of them. Same as our aromas also for paste and spaghetti sauce and things like that. Start a couple of these different cherry tomatoes. I have a Cherrylicious, a tropical sunset, and a golden nugget. I love little cherry tomatoes. I love to eat them while I'm out in the garden. Let's see. What else do I want to start? I have a ton. There will be lots that come up to volunteer. Last year I had so many. I pulled hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. That one looks interesting. A persimmon tomato. It looks like a big orange tomato. Pressed orange beefsteak style tomato that looks exactly like a persimmon when fully ripe. Plants will produce heavy yields. That sounds good. I'll try that. And then I know I have some in here somewhere. I'll have to find them that my mom wanted me to plant for her. So close that one. Then we're going to get our peppers. So of course we're going to have to do some sweet bells. My favorite, Hungarian hot waxies. See what else we got in here. Coral bells. And some jalapenos. Oh, let me look for those ones my mom wanted me to plant. I think they're in a different spot because, of course, I couldn't fit all of my seeds in here. And, you know how that goes. Let me see if I can find those. All right, I found the ones for my mom. There's a orange Kentucky beefsteak and a pink ox heart. So first thing I did was fill my tray with potting soil, and then I have my markers because I definitely want to make sure I label these so I know what is what. I did lightly moisten this potting soil first, and then I do have a watering can so I can water them in when I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and make some markers, and then we will get started. All right, so I have all my little labels made and all my tomatoes and peppers ready, so we will get planting. All right, so I am going to put a couple seeds per cell. These can be split as they get bigger. A lot of times I'll start a whole bunch of tomato seeds in one like 4-inch pot and then split them. Same with peppers. This year I just decided to do this way since I have so many varieties I'm growing this year. Try to keep them, a little bit less numbers. I don't know if you guys saw my videos last summer, but I grew a ton. of tomatoes and peppers. A lot of the tomatoes, like I said, were accidental volunteers that came up, which I know there will be a ton this year too. I'm not really going to worry about ever having enough tomatoes because I will always have a ton. So these are the Jersey Devil. Like I said, I planted these last year. They have very large fruit, very thick walls, lots of, good meat in them to make sauce. I was really impressed with how big they got. So we're just going to put a couple per cell. So there's 2 or 3 in each one of those. All right, next is San Mazzaro, which is another paste tomato. They've always done well for me too. Now my paste tomatoes, I've really enjoyed growing them with the Florida weave method, where you have some poles set up and then you weave twine through your plants as they grow, and then it creates like a trellis system for them. And I have had the best luck with that on my determinate tomatoes, which are my paste tomatoes. A determinate tomato is a tomato that grows to a determined size and sets, one big, a large amount of fruit. So that's good because they don't just grow and grow and grow like the indeterminate tomatoes will, like the cherry tomatoes and things like that. They can get really crazy, and they're hard to contain in the Florida weave method. Those I like growing on a fence or in cages. So, all right, next is Romas. Same thing, another paste tomato. We do put up a lot of sauce. I have not bought spaghetti sauce from a store in for years, because we make all of our spaghetti sauce at home. I do diced tomatoes. I do just plain tomato sauce that has no seasoning in it, so that way I can kind of doctor it up whatever way I want to. I've never actually made like a tomato paste. I know you have to cook it down for a really long time, so I've not done that yet, but maybe someday. Okay, next are these tropical sunset little cherry tomatoes. I'm a huge fan of little orange cherries. I really love the sun sugars. I've never been able to find seeds. I want to say they're like an F1 hybrid. I know that you can get them like at the sale barn, which is kind of like it's like a little flea market, and they have like cattle sales and things there. So I'll have to get some of those because they are my very favorite golden nugget. I'm hoping one of these might be a close, cousin or something to the sun sugars because they're so good. Okay. Little golden nuggets. There's a bunch of them. All right. A couple in each. Oh. Okay. So today was cold. It actually was spitting snow earlier. I'm really thankful that my fruit trees have not blossomed. I've seen a lot of people posting their peaches are blooming and things, and I'm so glad ours haven't, because last year our peaches had blossoms on them, and then of course we got like a cold snap, and it knocked all the fruit off of our peach tree. So hoping that doesn't happen this year, because I would really like to have buckets and buckets of peaches again this year. That would be nice. Come on, guys. I'll need all of you. All right. I do have a lot of flowers coming up, lots of daffodils everywhere, and tulips are starting to come up. So super exciting. Okay, these are these orange persimmon tomatoes. I have never grown these before. These are going to be a new variety. I actually think I got these in my gardener grab bag. So if you've never got one of them, it's pretty cool. In the fall, they'll do grab bags that are fairly cheap, and then you just kind of get like a random variety, and it's kind of fun to get like surprise stuff that you've never grown before that you wouldn't normally pick, and just try it. I like trying new things. Every year I try to grow something new I haven't grown before. So we'll try this one and see how it tastes. All right, next is this Geranium Kiss, these little dwarf tomatoes. I really liked them last year. They're small, they're not a cherry, they're more of a grape tomato, grape-sized tomato. But they did really good in the greenhouse because they don't get huge. One more. They stayed about knee-high, so that was kind of cool. I've never grown a dwarf variety until last year, so that was interesting to see how they did, but they did great. Okay, for my mom, some oxheart. Grew some of these last year for her. Got them started for her. She's going to be building a greenhouse this year. She's super excited about that. And she's going to try doing some tomatoes in a greenhouse with a shade cloth. She thinks they had some issues last year from just like being way too much sun where their garden is currently located. Orange Kentucky beefsteak. These are also from my mom. I don't know, some of hers were like getting really ripe, and then like their shoulders weren't turning, and then when you picked them, they would just like rot really fast. And I guess someone had told her that it was from too much sun. So that's what she's thinking about, filling the greenhouse and putting a shade cloth on it this year. All right, next up are bell peppers. Bell peppers are great. I chop and freeze a lot of bell peppers, and then we're able to use them through the year, and you know, all kinds of different things. We can use them in our dinners, and you know, it's nice to have peppers saved back. I also dehydrate some and then grind them up to make like a seasoning powder, which is really cool. All right, my faves, Hungarian hot waxies. If you've never had these, you should grow them. They are so good. They are hot. They're not like super hot, but they do have kick to them. I pickle these in bread and butter, pickle brine, and they are so good. Throw them on cheeseburgers, throw them on pizza. I mean, they're just an all-around awesome hot pepper, and they get like to be like a small bush, and they are just like very prolific, covered in peppers all season. So I really like them. They start out like a green, and then they go yellow to orange to red, and I like picking them at all shades of ripeness, and then I kind of layer the colors in the jar, and it's just gorgeous. Okay, jalapenos, gotta have those for salsa. And I know these are jalapenos. Last year, there was a whole, you know, Peppergate. I don't know if you guys heard about that, where people were buying what they thought were jalapenos, and they ended up being like banana peppers or things like that, or people were buying banana peppers and getting jalapenos. Anyway, the seeds were all mixed up, but I planted seeds out of this pack last year, so I do know that these are jalapenos. And then the last one are these coral bell peppers. So peppers will cross-pollinate in the garden, and if you're going to be saving seeds, you definitely want to plant your hot peppers far away from your sweet peppers, because they could cross-pollinate, and then if you save seeds the next year, you could be planting what you think is bell pepper, and it's going to be spicy. And so just be mindful of that. So I will add a little bit of potting mix on top of here, and then we'll get them watered in. And we'll be off to the races for this garden season. All right, so I got a little bit of potting mix here. The only thing with potting mix is there is some like wood pieces in there, so you got to be kind of, you don't want to put a big piece of wood on the seed, so you just kind of got to be careful how much what you grab and make sure not getting the big pieces. I use this instead of seed starting mix, because seed starting mix, it is very light and it's nice to start seeds in, but it doesn't have a whole lot of nutrition in that soil for your plants. So very quickly you may be needing to pot them up or fertilize and things like that. Potting mix just has a lot more nutrients in it. So I just go ahead and start there instead of having to pot them up and into potting soil, you know, quickly after they germinate. So hopefully within, I'm sure a few days we'll see tomatoes. Peppers take a little bit longer. Like I said, there's like a piece of wood in there, which is fine with bigger plants, but you know, with these little seeds, we don't want to cover them up with a big piece of wood and then they can't grow. Anyway, so the tomatoes will probably germinate fairly quickly. The peppers take a little while longer, but good to get a little bit of a head start. I know there's a lot of people who've already started peppers and tomatoes, but I start them a little bit later, just because if you start them too early, next thing you know, you have to bump them up a few times to, you know, make sure they have enough space while you're waiting for the weather to change. And I don't know, I don't want to have a house full of plants everywhere. I mean, I love having a house full of plants. I mean, as you can see behind me, but you know, it's just a lot more work. The earlier you start them, the more you gotta make sure they have the nutrition they need and that they're getting potted up, and I don't know. So anyway, I think this is plenty of time to get a good sized plant that we can plant out after our last frost, which is mid-May here in Indiana. It's been pretty mild actually this winter. We did have like one really deep freeze, cold snap, but since then and before then it's been fairly mild. So I don't know, maybe we'll get out of that frost time a little early this year. That'd be nice. So I do wait longer to plant my peppers out. They really like warm temperatures, so try to wait usually more towards the end of May. They will go out in the greenhouse, but I don't plant them out in the ground until, you know, closer to June, just because I don't want them to get stunted from the cold. I want them to get, you know, a good start. Last year I had an issue where something came and ate the tops off of all my peppers. I think it was probably a bird, and it took forever for them to get going because, you know, it just took all their leaves, so they weren't, you know, getting a lot of energy. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Anyway, yeah, so tomorrow's the first day of spring. I'm excited for that. We got a few more days of school, and then I'll be on spring break next week. So hopefully I'll be making a lot of videos and putting things out, because I have to start getting the garden ready, and hopefully it'll be nice and we can do outside things. I've been looking forward to that. We have eggs in the incubator. They'll hatch on Easter. Here in a couple more days we should be able to candle them, and I'll make a video showing, you know, what that process is like. So I hope y'all are doing well. Let me know what you're planting, if you've got things planted already, or what you're looking forward to planting. And thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you soon. Bye.